Welcome back to Ex-Care Kids Scotland. I'm Thomas Martin, the founder and creator of Ex-Care Kids Scotland. So, today's video. Now, I've not done one of these in a while. If you can remember, I made a part 1, which was about my care experience. So, this is part 2. And to be honest, it's a lot more difficult to talk about it, as in a sense, well, not a sense, I'm embarrassed about, the way I acted in those units that I was in. As I acted like a dick. I was a dick to people who were ultimately trying to help me, but they were also kind of dicks back. So if you remember the first video, it was my first ever unit, so this is a continuation from that. That unit was based in Irvine. Really, it was a really modern unit. It wasn't like the units that I was going to end up in. I'll say that much right now. It was nothing like the units I was going to end up in, especially my final unit. This was a new built unit. It was very modern, and it was nice. It was a nice wee unit, and a lot of the staff were pretty decent. Now, if you can remember from the first video, I had stated that it was me officially moving in it. After basically getting used to the unit, so after a few weeks of being in it, the staff kind of realised I wasn't a golden angel. I was a rotten little bastard of a kid. I was a dickhead. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it, and I'm not going to use, nice terms on it. I was a dick. And the staff at the time would even admit that, although professionally they cannot. If it wasn't professionally, I'm pretty sure they would admit that I was a dick. I did a lot of stupid shit in that unit. I constantly ran away. I constantly ended up in restraints by staff, and I didn't really learn from it. And I made a lot of enemies with the staff. And this is where I feel staff need to be able to understand young people a lot better than what they do. As at the end of the day, everyone's human. You can go to a unit, and I'm going to use this example. I was in that unit, I don't know how long I was in that unit for. It was a fair bit of time anyway. And within that time, I had probably been in over 30, 40 safe holds in that one unit alone. Like, I was getting restrained by staff, getting restrained by the police. I can still remember the night I was actually physically dragged back into that unit by 6 police officers. And it didn't end up a drag, it ended up, 6 police officers carrying me. And looking back on it, it was embarrassing. And I'm ashamed of it. Yeah, I was a dick. And I was a dick for no apparent reason apart from being a dick. And it was actually a few days after that incident that one of the staff members that I had assaulted chose, which is where the understanding of young people and staff need to come in. The staff didn't try to understand why I was doing what I was doing. And that's, looking back on it, that is definitely something that definitely could have factored in it. Was the staff not trying to understand why I was acting the way I was acting. They just kind of let it happen. And they did that with a lot of young people. They didn't try to deal with it. They just kind of let it happen. And I remember being in my room, and I was just sitting there chilling. I was watching TV. And I think I was watching Family Guy or some shit. And I remember sitting in the bed, and the doors are fobbed, so you cannot get into a room without a key fob. So staff would have a wee key hang, they would swipe it, and then you'd hear the beep beep, and then the click of the lock unlocking, and then they would come in. And I remember hearing that beep, and ultimately what happened from that beep was me getting the absolute shit kicked out of me. And it wasn't by staff. That's the thing, it was not by staff, it was by the other young people in the unit. Because the staff allowed it. The staff allowed the young people to come into the room and batter absolute shit at me. And the thing is, the young people weren't in my age. These people were, 18, 19. These other young people. They weren't, my age. I think I was like 13 or something at the time. I was pretty damn young anyway, I'll say that much. So they were basically assaulting a minor. And the staff allowed it. Mainly due to the simple fact that they disliked me because I was acting like a dick. And frankly, looking back on it, I don't blame them. I was a dickhead, and they physically can't assault me because then they lose their jobs. So what's the next best option? To get the young people to do it. And that's exactly what happened. And I remember the next day I tried to take it to the staff. They didn't listen. I was like, I want to get them done by the post. The staff were like, get them done with what? Nothing happened. And that was one of the first times I realised that units ain't all sunshine and roses. And staff can make things happen if they don't like you. And they did. And I don't blame them. If I was in the staff members' boots that time, I probably would have considered that as well. When you're dealing with someone who's constantly assaulting staff, staff members, at the end of the day, staff are like a family. They're like a close-knit group of people who are constantly working with each other 24/7. So, of course, there's going to be some harsh feelings, when a young person is constantly assaulting them. But reacting the way they reacted and allowing what they allowed to happen was completely bang out. And I'm not going to name the staff members' names. And I can remember their names. And I remember what they look like. But I'm never, ever going to say their names. Because at the end of the day, I understand why they did it. Yes, it was completely wrong of them, but I understand why. I was a dick. And that's where staff need to understand boys a lot better. That full... and boys attacking, other young people in a unit. Every unit I've been in, I've seen that happen. And it's always been for the simple fact of that one person's been such a dick to staff that staff get so fed up with it that other boys deal with the issues for them. Because if another boy does it, nothing can really happen, The staff are just going to deny it, you know what I mean? It's not going to go anywhere. If a staff team's allowed it, it's never going to go anywhere. And I can guarantee you that. It will never go anywhere. Because the staff allowed it to happen, the staff wanted it to happen. And I've seen that for a lot of my units. Through my first unit, my second unit. My third, not so much, but my final unit, I definitely seen it happen more times than what I would like to have seen it. At that point, it's kind of like a turning point for me. Because I was like, the staff have allowed that and they're not going to help me. And I remember in my brain, I was like, right, what can I do? Can I either start acting my age or just be more of a dick? And I was like, you know what? Fuck it, I'll just act more like a dick. Because I wasn't mature enough. I was just like, fuck it. If they've allowed that to happen, I'm going to make their lives live in hell. And that's exactly what I did. I'd have my good days, and then I would have a bad day, and I'd be like, fuck the lot of yous. And similar situations would happen. And the staff would love it. I also remember one situation where I ended up in a verbal argument with a staff member, and one of the boys who was in a unit who was that staff member's key boy didn't like it. And me being small me, and then seeing someone who's 10 times older than me, taller than me, and has already battered me, I'm kind of spitting from my room at that point. So I remember running to my room, and I remember the staff member saying, and I remember how they said it, was, go get him. They didn't say it in like, oh, go get him. They said it in extreme anger, like they were wanting it to happen. Luckily, it didn't. I managed to get into him and barricade it, which ultimately led to a 2-hour standoff with staff and ultimately the police coming in and taking me out. But that's stuff that, in my eyes, shouldn't be happening. No matter how much a young person treats a staff member, I understand that it hurts their feelings and, it pisses them off and it makes them angry. But the point of being a staff member is there to look after a young person. And that unit certainly failed at that. I'd seen other young people act like a dick, and they did the exact same to those young people. They would just tell, either that key boy or they'd get another young person in the unit to go deal with. And the thing is, those people never had the other young people in the unit I got on really well with. They didn't have a bad bone in their body. But when a staff member said for them to do it, they would go do it. I don't know why. I really don't know why. It still amazes me to this day. Like, even though I was addicted to their key workers, at the end of the day, they're still young people, I managed to get on with them, I'd eventually, if I was doing the bail, one of them would do the bail with me, and, they would sit and say, why the fuck were you doing this and that? And I would be like, well, because they did this and that, and they would understand that. But that was how it went in that unit. And it carries on for units, and that's one thing I feel that should not be happening in units, is it's wrong. That's the simple way to put it. Staff should not be getting other boys to assault other boys. And I seen that for many units, and it does happen. It does happen. And the thing is, the staff will always deny it because they know if the staff members allowed it to happen, they're going to lose their job. And of course, they don't want to lose their job, you know. And that's just the bad staff. You know, bad staff allow that. Not all staff allow it, and I just want to point that out right now. There's a very select few. Out of all the units I've been in, it's always been a select member of staff, or been a specific member of staff in a specific unit, or whatever it could be. It's always been that one staff member. And it's just been like, no, I dislike that person, so I'm going to let this happen. And you who's watching, you're probably thinking the exact same. You would have done the exact same thing. You know, if you're working in a unit and some cunt's been a dick to you 24/7, saying shit, you know, assaulting other, you know, your colleagues, you know, you're going to think that thought. And I don't blame you. I mean, neither do I. I would have had the exact same thoughts in my head because the person's been a dick. And looking back on it, I'm embarrassed by the way I acted. You know, at the time I didn't care because why should I? I was young, dumb, and didn't give a fuck about much, to be honest. I didn't know why I was there. I was like, why the fuck am I being here? So I just tried to rebel against it all. And it didn't go well. Let's just say that much. It did not go well for me. And that was due to the failure of the staff not communicating with me. My key worker, who was very, 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 very nice. Very, very nice guy. He never tried to deal, you know, he wouldn't speak to me about it. He wouldn't try to figure out why I done it. He just kind of let it happen, you know. And that's definitely what probably led to a lot of my later on attitudes in units, was because the staff didn't show any sort of appeal to giving a fuck, if that makes sense. You know, they didn't show any signs of, yeah, we want to help you with this. So to me, man, my brain naturally went into, you know, I don't get a fuck mode anymore. And that's exactly what happened. But that was some of the things that happened in that unit. And I don't want this video to go on for too long, as, you know, it kind of ends up me repeating the same shit. So I'm going to leave the video there, and I want you to put in the comments below, if you were a staff member and a young person's been a dick to you, and being a dick to your colleagues and assaulting them and all that, how would you deal with that situation? Because point blank, you've got to put that aside for you. When you're being a staff member, one of the biggest things I feel, and it's one thing I credit a lot of the staff for, is staff get a lot more shit given to them than what you think. You know, staff get assaulted on a daily basis by boys. You know, they get called names underneath the sun, they get threats put at them, they get everything flung at them. But yet they still come in, you know, to help the young people. And a lot of the staff, and I'll say 99% of the staff will be able to hold it in and they deal with it. But it has a knock-on effect. You know, a staff member comes into work, they're not coming in to get abused, assaulted, all that shit. They come into work to help. Of course, you'll get the odd the wee group of staff, like a wee handful of staff that just come in for the money and they don't really give a fuck. And you will see it in a lot of units. You do see it, and it's very fucking noticeable. And that's what happens, and that's one thing I aim to change, is that should not be happening in a unit. You know, and I aim to not let it happen in the unit, which is why I've made Ex-Kick in Scotland. I aim to change a lot for young people and for staff, because it's a two-way street. You know, young people in the first place shouldn't be assaulting staff, but then on the same coin, staff should not be reacting negatively and allowing what happened in my first unit to continue to happen, and what continued through a lot of my units. You know, and it was actually quite funny, in my second unit, a lot of the staff got sacked for it because management found out. And I specifically remember one of my favourite staff in that unit, who I got on well with, but did it to other young people that he didn't get on with. He ended up getting the sack, and we were always wondering why, and then it eventually came out was because staff were allowing certain things to happen to young people, such as assaults and some other inappropriate stuff. They got sacked. So it's a thing that does happen, and it's a thing that shouldn't be happening. But I'm going to leave it there. Comment your views down below, and if you find this video helpful or useful, or you know someone who is in care or who has been in care, send them the link to the channel. You know, on the video for the entire video, the link to the website will be there. The link code to the website is linked in the description. That gives a lot more information, and there's a lot coming to the website, and there's a lot coming for the young people. You know, there's a lot in the works at the moment to make stuff, you know, actually happen. And there's been a lot of emails being sent to a lot of different places that are waiting on responses. You know, I'm always going to be transparent with you. You know, I always want you to understand that there is moves being made to make a change. But I need one thing from you, the viewer, and that's to share this. Share this video, share the channel, share the website, send it to friends, family, bring awareness to it. You know, share it about, because I can do a lot, but to get it out there, I need the help of yous. And if yous want the care situation to change, you know, you can go onto the website. There's parts linked to other things, other websites that help you get an understanding of what care is. You know, seeing these videos, and hopefully soon there should be some young people stories coming up onto the website. I'm working with a few young people at the moment to try to get some of their stories put up, to read them and try to get a better understanding of the care situation. But I'll leave it with yous. You know, if you have found this video helpful or interesting, and you feel like you know someone who it could help, or you just want to share it, please do so. You know, at the end of the day, I've been a dick for units, and I realised that I was one of many young people that were dicks, and I realised a lot of staff did a lot of wrong and all that stuff. But I want to make a change for units to better help the young people and to help the staff and bring awareness to it. Anyway, I'm going to stop blabbing on. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it's gave you a bit of insight to my time in care, and that I was a dick, and I'm not going to lie about it. You know, looking back on it, it's embarrassing but funny at the same time. You know, I laugh about it because I was like, how was I fucking dick? How the fuck have I made it to this point? But I'm going to leave it at that. So I hope you all have a wonderful day. You know, enjoy the sunshine down here in Ardrossan. It's quite nice and sunny right now, so I think I'm going to go to the beach. If it's sunny where you are, go to the beach. Make sure you wear your face mask, social distance, you know, stay safe during these hard times, and just enjoy life, but stay safe. I don't want to see in comments folk walking about with face masks. Anyway, I'm going to end it here. This is Thomas Martin, founder, creator of X-Kickers Scotland, and signing off until the next video.